Justin, I know first day of fall camp, but how's the adjustment been? How have you liked Bozeman so far?
Yeah, Bozeman's been good. Can't complain about the weather so far, so that's been cool. Yeah, exactly. And I think the biggest thing is the guys have been very welcoming, and that's been super cool. It's not like that everywhere, but the guys have been good, and I feel like I've adjusted well.
You moved around, obviously,
Yeah.
had some different decisions. Ended up at Montana State. Vegan obviously recruited you way back when.
Yeah.
What stands out about this university and why you made the decision to come here?
Yeah, I'm kind of at the point in my career where I kind of want to just play for someone that I respect, and Vegan is that guy. I had a chance to build a relationship with him in high school, so I'm happy to be here. My college career has been crazy. Never saw it going this way, but I'm fortunate enough to be here, and a lot of people want to be in my position. So just wake up every day and try to get better, and thankful I'm here.
What intrigued you most about MSU in this offense?
Yeah, I think with Sturbick, he brings a little bit of balance for both sides of the running game and the passing game, and it's pretty cool that I know the linemen here pride themselves off the running game, and that's something I think is super important. If you can run the ball, you can do a lot of other things, and I'm just trying to add to that in any way I can, whether it's the passing game, and I feel like I can be a threat on my feet as well.
Yeah, coming in as a transfer, the veterans on this team that have been here for a while have talked about coming just short last season. I guess, what have they told you about that, and what's your hunger level like as a transfer?
Yeah, first of all, you just got to go win the job, and my hunger level there is very high, and I think with the whole national championship thing, I wasn't part of that team, but you can feel how much they wanted that. I know I started getting recruited by Vegan when they were playing Idaho, so I kind of followed them through that whole thing. And I think the better team lost that day, to be honest. But they don't treat it like that. They treat it how do we get better? How do we win that game rather than making excuses?
You mentioned that hunger. I guess how do you view it mentally? Kind of having to come here, win the job, in competition, not just transfer in. I guess getting this started on it.
Yeah, I think Coach Vegan's gonna make me win the job, and he's gonna make whoever win the job, which is that's special. A lot of people just hand out a job, and I appreciate that about him. I feel like kind of used to have been. Feels like I've been in a quarterback battle ever since I got to college in some way. So I've learned things, and we got to keep the main thing, and that's the team success. So keep it a healthy competition, and find a way to push each other to be better.
Did you learn much about Montana State just from Troy Taylor, the former Big Sky coach, and anything with him?
Yeah, so my brother played at Davis, so I've kind of just been familiar with Big Sky football, and Idaho was my first offer out of high school. So, I had like 3 Big Sky offers out of high school, so I've just been familiar with it, right? And Coach Taylor, we always talked Big Sky football when he was at Stanford. So, respect the conference. I know there's a lot of good players, so happy to be part of it.
What did you guys talk about?
We would talk a lot about the Causeway Classic because my brother was a Davis guy, so I was always talking trash, and I think they won most of those games. But I was telling him I was an Aggie. Now I'm a Bobcat, but I was helping my brother out a little bit.
What did he think about you coming here?
It was cool. Coach Taylor and I about 3 weeks on our bye week, we had 3 games left, and he kind of gave me the opportunity, sat me down, and said, "Hey, you want to stay here, or do you want to go look for other options?" And he was super supportive, with whatever decision I wanted to make. And I know him and Coach Vegan have talked a little bit, and I know things didn't go the way he wanted it there, but he's helped me a lot and gave me the opportunity to be there. So I think he's stoked about it. We talked briefly about it.
Also, your brother too.
Oh, my brother?
What does he think? Yeah.
Yeah, he's he's already got a jersey, a Bobcat jersey. He'll be wearing a Bobcat jersey when we play Davis at home. So yeah.
What have you learned just throughout your journey, and how do you think it kind of helps you out here?
Yeah, I've learned a lot. Patience is the first thing, and you can only control so much. And I know it's super cliche, but there's stuff that's you can't control, right? Picks, playing time. You just gotta do what you do, and at the end of the day, it's all gonna work out some way or the other.
Which of the pass catchers have stood out the most so far in your time here?
Yeah. I think I could go through that whole list, but Taco is a guy who every time I ask him to throw, he's there, which is pretty cool because he's an All-American, and you appreciate that work ethic. Chris Long is a guy who came in, and you guys saw today, he's super talented, and Trim and Dane and Jay Reed. I don't want to leave anybody out, but I think a lot of those guys can go. we got to do a good job as a quarterback room to give them the ball and let them go make plays.
And then the offensive line, about how they kind of look so far from your perspective.
Yeah, really good. Really old group. Like I said, they pride themselves in running the ball, and Titan Fleischman is one of my good buddies, and he wears a run the damn ball hat, and I've been asking him to make me one. So it's a cool group. With JT in there, they lead those younger guys, and there's other guys stepping up, which should be cool to see in fall camp.
For people that don't know like who you are, how you play, how would you kind of describe your quarterback like style?
Yeah. I guess the last 2 years I was a super physical runner who threw the ball a little bit. I truly do see myself as a dual threat, a guy who can pass the ball. That was my ultimate decision to leave Stanford. That's why. So, but you'll always get a competitive edge out of me. I know that. I'll be a guy that's, if it's third and short, I want the ball in my hand to go get the first. So I guess that's a good summary.
The opportunity to start the season at Oregon, what is that like, and is that something that you kind of think about already this early in camp?
Yeah, you do think about it. It's hard not to think about it, but you want to do one day at a time. But I mean, that's an opportunity where a lot of people don't get. They won the Big Ten championship last year, and you're an FCS team that gets to go to Autzen Stadium and play in front of that crowd. I think it's special. I haven't played there before, but good opportunity. They're a great team, so looking forward to it.
Did you cross over to Oregon at all?
Yeah, my first start was against Oregon. They had a really good team that year, but 23. So I was like Bo Nix and those guys. Yeah, really good team, and they're gonna have athletes. We all know that, and but anybody can win on any day. So.
I know you guys are competing, but just getting to know Chance and Patrick and kind of that quarterback room, I guess, what has that been like?
Yeah, good guys. Really respect all of them. I knew River before I got here. We have the same quarterback coach, and Pat Duchesne is a guy I respect. Hard worker on and off the field. He's always at throwing. Chance is a really good athlete, and Grant, he operated today, first day, hasn't even seen team reps till today, and he did a great job today. So happy to be around those guys.
What have you learned just about I know it's been a short time, but just the Bobcat culture and what this program's all about?
Yeah, I think the culture as a whole is awesome. In the facility and out of the facility. I think that's the biggest thing I've learned is the support from, the outsiders looking in. We didn't really have that support at Stanford in terms of, people showing out to the games and packing the stadium, and you took that for granted. So it's been awesome.